Cost of Capital Demystified. Friends, today we are going to cover one of the most important topic in the domain of finance. And when I say this, I really mean it. And the topic that we are talking about is the cost of capital. This is one topic which has got relevance in every aspect of financial management in any business organization anywhere in the world. Any decision that you take in the business, it may be relating to forex management, it may be relating to portfolio management, it may be relating to business valuations, fixed income securities, mergers and amalgamations, capex, derivatives, product pricing, security analysis, investment analysis, financial reporting through INDES or IFRS. So, any decision that you take in the domain of finance, you have to have an excellent understanding of cost of capital. If your understanding of cost of capital is not clear, let me tell you, you will find it really very difficult to deal with the various aspects of finance, because for every decision in the bottom line, in the bottom or in the base or in the foundation is cost of capital. And that is what we are going to focus today in this session. Now, what I have planned, friends, in this session, there are 67 questions which are interconnected with the cost of capital and various aspects relating to cost of capital. So, what I have planned is to give you a very comprehensive understanding about cost of capital, so that you are completely thorough in cost of capital and you understand each and every aspect of cost of capital, and you are able to apply the cost of capital in every decision that you take in your day-to-day finance, or in your strategic finance, or in your advanced financial management of any business. I would be starting these 67 questions, and what I will do, I will take 10 questions at a time. So that means what? That means these questions, these 67 questions, I will first explain the 10 questions in one go, and then give you an opportunity to raise your questions or raise your doubts or seek clarification on any of the point that I may have discussed in connection with those 10 questions. And then again we take the next 10 questions, and this is how we will do it and so as to cover all the questions in today's session. And let's begin. Question number 1: what is cost of capital? We all have fairly good idea about it. And what is cost of capital? In business, we use different sources for funding our operations, and so all those sources can be equity share capital, it can be preference share capital, it can be reserves and surplus, it can be debenture, it can be term loan, it can be convertible debenture, it can be non-convertible debenture, it can be convertible preference share, it can be redeemable preference shares. There are so many sources of finance which are available to us. Now, each of these source has a cost that accrues to the business. तो चूंकि हम ये सोर्सेज को यूज़ कर रहे हैं फॉर फंडिंग आवर ऑपरेशंस, ऑब्वियसली ये कॉस्ट के हमको एक ये जो सोर्सेज हैं ऑफ कैपिटल, उसके लिए हमको एक कॉस्ट पे करनी पड़ती है. एंड व्हाट दैट कॉस्ट इज, दैट इज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल. व्हाट दैट कॉस्ट इज, दैट इज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल. Question number 2: what purpose does it serve? The purpose cost of capital serves is, it serves the purpose of being a reference point for decision making. It serves the purpose for being a reference point for decision making. And why not? It has to be the reference point. And why it has to be the reference point? Because ultimately I am using capital, and for that capital I am incurring a cost, and that is my cost of capital. So the first reference point it serves is कि अगर मैं कैपिटल यूज कर रहा हूँ, उसके लिए मैं कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल इनकर कर रहा हूँ. सो द प्राइम ड्राइवर ऑफ माइन इन बिजनेस हैज़ टू बी कि जितनी जितनी भी मेरी कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल है, मेरे रिटर्न फ्रॉम द बिजनेस हैज़ टू बी मच मोर देन द कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल दैट आई एम इनकरिंग. So that is one example that I'm giving with you at this point in time. But there are many examples, where the cost of capital is used for the as a reference point. So in case if you're doing capital expenditure planning or investment long term investment planning, you're going to deploy the funds on which you are going to get cash in future. So to convert those cash flows, future cash flows in terms of present value, again you need a reference number, and that reference number is your cost of capital. Likewise, in case of discounted cash flow method that you use for the purpose of determining intrinsic value of a business, again you need a reference number, and that reference number is cost of capital. Question number 3. What is WACC? Is it same as WACOC? So what is WACC? The full form of WACC is weighted average cost of capital. Weighted average cost of capital. And the full form of WACOC is also weighted average cost of capital. Meaning what? Meaning some people call it WACC and some people call it WACOC. But remember, both of them are absolutely same. There is no difference whatsoever. Question number 4. Are WACC and COC same or different? यानी कि वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल और कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल ये दोनों एक ही हैं कि अलग अलग हैं? एंड लेट मी टेल यू फ्रेंड्स, in this respect we have to understand the term cost of capital is generic. The term cost of capital is generic, meaning what? Meaning cost of capital can be for equity share capital, cost of capital can be for preference share capital, cost of capital can be for reserves and surplus, cost of capital can be for debenture, cost of capital can be for term loan. So a cost of capital is a generic term, but WACC, which is weighted average cost of capital, as the name suggests, it is the combined cost of all the sources of funding or financing that you're using in your business. So I would answer question number 4 saying COC, cost of capital, is generic. WACC, that is weighted average cost of capital, is specific. And that is how I would answer this question number 4. Question number 5. Is WACC the COC or COC is the WACC? Again, answer to the question number 5, that is WACC the COC or COC is the WACC, lies in the answer to question number 4. So WACC, please remember, is weighted average cost of capital. Is weighted average cost of capital. That means every WACC is cost of capital. But every cost of capital is not WACC. Every cost of capital is not WACC. WACC is one of the types of the cost of capital. And that is how I would answer question number 5. Question number 6. Every WACC is COC, but every COC is not WACC. As a matter of fact, question number 6 is not really a question. It is answer to the question number 5, as I have just explained to you. Let us take question number 7. Can COC also be referred as cost of equity? And remember, COC, as I said earlier, is a generic term. It can be for any source of capital. Cost of equity is specific. Cost of equity is the cost of equity share capital. It is a specific cost. COC is a generic term. So therefore, can COC also be referred as cost of equity? And the answer is yes. One can always say that cost of equity is also one of the types of cost of capital. Cost of equity is also one of the types of cost of capital. Question number 8. Can cost of equity be also referred as COC? And answer of course is yes, because cost of equity, okay, question number 8, can cost of equity be also referred as COC? Now please remember, since we are looking at this particular session from the perspective of valuation, and therefore I would like all of you to be absolutely clear about it actually. So when someone is talking in terms of COC and COE, यानी कि अगर कोई कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विटी के बारे में और कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल के बारे में साथ साथ बात कर रहा है, इसका मतलब ये दोनों चीज़ों को अलग अलग समझा जाना चाहिए, दोनों चीज़ों को सेपरेटली अंडरस्टैंड करना चाहिए. क्या मतलब है इसका? इसका मतलब ये है व्हेन यू आर डिस्कसिंग कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विटी एंड कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल साइमल्टेनियसली, इसका मतलब ये है cost of equity that you are talking about is with regard to the cost of equity share capital, and cost of capital that you are talking about is the weighted average cost of capital or cost of capital employed, and which is nothing but combined cost of all the sources of financing that you are using in your business. Question number 9. Between the COC and COE, which is generic and which is specific? I think I have already answered this question 2-3 times before. So between the COC and COE, between the cost of capital and cost of equity, which is generic, which is specific? Cost of equity is specific and cost of capital is generic. Question number 10. Is cost of capital same as cost of equity, cost of debt, cost of preference share capital, cost of bond, cost of debenture, and also WACC? And the answer, of course, is, as I said earlier, cost of capital is generic and cost of equity is specific. Cost of preference share capital is specific. Cost of debenture is specific. Cost of term loan is specific. Cost of weighted average cost of capital is also specific. So this is true. All the sources of finance have their own cost of capital, right? Every source of finance have their own cost, and that is their specific cost of capital. लेकिन जब आप कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल की बात करते हैं तो आपका इंटेंशन क्या है, आपका एक्सप्रेशन क्या है? आपका एक्सप्रेशन ये है कि कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल इन general. So that's your question number 10. Now, having explained these 10 questions, now let me make it open to all of you to ask your questions, your doubt, or any clarifications that you may have. I will take your questions, your doubts, and clarifications that you want, and then we will switch over to question number 11 and cover another set of 10 questions.